Hi, I'm Grace Jones and I'm a pre-service science teacher. Among other things, I have a bit of an interest in music, which is why there's a plethora of musical instruments behind me, so sorry about that. But today I'm going to talk to you about my teaching biography and my teaching philosophy. So starting with my teaching biography, I am currently studying a Bachelor of Science Education Dean Scholar at the University of Wollongong, and I'm in my second last semester. Touch wood. So it probably bears reflection on how I ended up on this path in the first place. So starting out when I was quite small, I've always had an interest in the natural world and learning how the world around me works and why things are the way they are. And when I got to secondary school and I found out this was a subject called science, where you could study the world around you to your heart's content, I just thought this was extraordinary, and I still do. But my love of science and learning about science is multiplied by how many people I can tell that knowledge to, because personally I feel knowledge is only valuable when it's shared. And my love of science is matched by perhaps only an interest that is shared by, I think, many teachers, and that's a love of talking to people. Talking to people about anything, talking to people about science in particular, but honestly, I think I could talk to a brick wall for days if you'd let me. And then when I got to year 12, I had to make a decision on a career that would combine these two interests of mine. And I settled on two possibilities. I settled on agricultural consultancy or science teaching. And then my mum, in her infinite wisdom, told me that I couldn't just have these two possibilities. I had to actually choose a course to apply for at university. And as chance would have it, I was walking past the UOW course book and I opened it and pointed, and I landed on a Bachelor of Science Education, Science Education, sorry. And the rest, they say, is history. But since then, I have been heartened by my academic success. For every year I've studied at UOW, I've received an award for my academic achievement. And also by my professional placement. I've found teaching students and answering the questions that I probably would have asked at their age, and seeing them apply knowledge to practical situations and discussions. I found it all very rewarding, and I found the feedback that teachers on placement have given me has been both very helpful in improving my teaching practice and very heartening. So now I think we move on to who I am as a teacher. I find this question quite challenging, probably because I'm an Australian and we don't really like to answer that question. But I think who I am as a teacher is someone who's currently trying their best. I don't think I'm the best teacher I can be yet, but I think I will work at it, and I think I have a love of science and a love of the educational process behind me to help. So now moving on to my teaching philosophy. So my teaching philosophy is largely based on a quandary I've had since I've started studying education. And it's that teachers or teaching students often talk about education in terms of creating good members of society or socially responsible members of society or autonomous members of society. And I've always wondered, what is a good member of society? For me, good sounds like someone that fits into a hole with little disruption. And I've always thought that the people that make the most contributions, the most meaning contributions in science and in other fields, are people that are larrikins, people that go against the grain, people that think for themselves. If you think of Galileo, he was placed under house arrest for his theory that the solar system revolves around the sun. Or Charles Darwin, who met enormous opposition to his theory of evolution. So basically, my philosophy is I want students to be free thinkers that can interrogate ideas for themselves. Because of this, I often anchor lessons in discussion, and I have a huge emphasis on teacher-student dialogue in my class. I don't like to tell students they're wrong. I like to ask them to prove their theories with reliable sources or propose how they can test their hypotheses. My hope is through this philosophy, I can help students become individuals that can interrogate the world around them and make decisions for themselves. And I also think that this philosophy allows students to gain a great understanding about concepts, because in order to challenge a concept, you need to be able to understand it, explain it, and specifically explain the facet of a concept you take exception to. So that's my philosophy and that's my biography.